There's nothing like a good day out at the beach. But how do you get here when you've got mum and dad, 3 kids, beach towels, buckets and spades, suntan lotion, a picnic, and of course, some umbrellas? Well, you could make the journey in Mazda's new Premacy. There's plenty of room in there for all the family. And if you fork out on a ferry ticket, it's a much cheaper way of letting the family experience some Viva España than if you had to buy 5 seats on a plane. The Premacy sells itself on its spaciousness and also on its user-friendly interior. It can transport loads up to 2.6 metres long, and the seats can be arranged in over 100 different positions. Now, quite why you'd want to do that, I suppose, is another matter, but still it'll give the kids a new game to play on that long drive to Spain.
Oh yes, there are plenty of seat settings. The front passenger seat and central rear seat fold flat to form tabletops. All 3 independent rear seats can be single, double folded or completely removed. And there's also the option of an extremely spacious 2 seats for passengers in the back once the centre seat is removed. We just don't have time in this programme to show you all the other variations the Premacy claims to have. We can tell you, however, that these seats are very light and they fit in and out of the car with no problems.
Now, while Mazda may have been very imaginative with the seating arrangements inside the cabin, it's about as dull as they come. Sensible, yes. Attractive, no. Well, not unless you've got a liking for lots and lots of grey plastic. When a car manufacturer is going to realise that we've all gone very stylish and minimalist and do all our shopping in large Swedish superstores? Still, on the positive side, there's plenty of equipment, it feels very solid and everything is well laid out. Now, most of us know that cars like this, although they're very practical, they are sadly lacking in any kind of driving excitement. I mean, you wouldn't exactly relish getting behind the wheel of one, would you? And the Premacy is no exception. It's a pretty rotten drive. Around town, it feels really quite cumbersome. This 1.8 engine just doesn't have the power that you need to zip in and out of traffic. It isn't responsive enough. And I can't even say that it's small enough to make it easy to park. And when you get it out on the open road on the motorway, things aren't any better. It feels a very, very fidgety ride. The suspension is far too soft, the steering is very light, and you find yourself correcting a lot of oversteer. And matters aren't helped any by this automatic gearbox. It revs far too high and it makes you feel as if you're behind the wheel of an extremely large lawnmower. I think if you're going to go for the Premacy, a far better option would be to go for the manual. The seating position does suit me, but if you try and get the seat back to its furthest position, anybody with long legs is really going to struggle in here, although they do, of course, have plenty of headroom, which is a good thing. The other problem is that the adjustments to move the seat around are hidden down the side down here, and it's really hard to get your hand down to it. Things aren't looking too good so far, are they really?
Price depends very much on specification. The standard GXI starts at £14,700 on the road. The top-of-the-range GSI is priced at £16,850 for the manual and just over £17,500 for the automatic.
On a more positive note though, the cabin is a nice place to be. It's very light and airy in here, and I've got to tell you, it's also a healthy place to be. That's because this is the first car in the world to be fitted with a special air filter. It gets rid of all the nasties in polluted air, as well as cigarette smoke. Well, it may not be such a nice drive, but at least it'll keep those nasty pollutants at bay. You know, it's a worrying thought. It's probably healthier in there than it is out here.
Like it or not, the Premacy is smaller than your average MPV. Now, this suggests that its title as a mini MPV is that bit more logical. In fact, the Premacy is the same width and only a tiny bit longer than Mazda's 626 Estate, which was recently featured on the programme. Overall, the look of the Premacy holds its own reasonably well. It's emphasised by the shapely headlights at the front, directing attention to the 5-point grille, a theme that's carried over to the rear window, providing you with good driving visibility. Mazda have attempted to add a slightly sporty look to this Premacy GSI. These alloy wheels come as standard, along with the rear boot spoiler. It does, however, seem a pity that some of this creative flair failed to make it under the bonnet. Although Mazda's new edition, the Premacy, is a mini MPV, in fact they're planning to build a 7-seater larger MPV which will be based on it. Both of these cars will join a market that's just flooded with vehicles like this, and it's expecting new arrivals in the shape of the Vauxhall Concept A and Ford's Focus MAV. So do we really need another one?
It's most definitely a mini MPV, but the whole purpose of it is it can be used for anything. It's more important now today than ever that people have a quality lifestyle. So therefore you can use it for work, and it's compact, easy to park and drive. It's also very user-friendly for weekends and leisure purposes. So it fits quite neatly in the marketplace as a mini MPV.
So would I buy one? Well, I've got to admit that I think it looks pretty good, and there is plenty of space inside, which makes it a good practical buy. But I'm afraid there aren't enough thrills in the driving department for me. And besides, I'm not in the market for sensible yet. I'm missing one vital ingredient. I don't have 2.4 kids.